Crypto is in another dip, and therefore the recession panic, the bear market talk is back. If every time we had a dip, we would have a bear market, we'd have a lot of bear markets, a lot of recessions happening. And this seems to be the go-to mechanism. And oftentimes, I think what should be concerning to a lot of people, if you're not following the data, following what is going on, a lot of times you can be in a very, very bleak, bearish looking move, be very close to the bottom when you're calling for just lower. You're calling for something terrible to happen. And I can't believe I'm going to have to pull this out again, but investors may be surprised to learn that in the last 69 years, on average, stocks did worse in the year before recession began than during the recession itself. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. We're going to look at mainly altcoin charts in this video, but I will use Bitcoin as kind of just a little bit of a guide. If you think right now the move that is happening is kind of like this move, the beginning of a bear market, that is fine. But I will say 100% that I disagree with you. And the reason why is just because and I've talked about this recently, the monetary cycle is different right now than when it was back here and what was happening as we entered that bear market. And that's number one. But we're going to go through some data points to really kind of get a sense of what is going on right now. How bad is it? And really, I'll talk about a little bit what I'm thinking. So Bitcoin long liquidations, longs obliterated. Biggest wipeout since the choke point, 1 FTX meltdowns. Avoid leverage. Buy spot and holding self-custody. If you're leverage trading out there, what are you doing? Just stop. Good news, it's over. The longs are out. Anthony Pompliano, he's been really killing it lately with, I would say, content in the face of the bears. Everyone is freaking out like stocks won't ever go back up again. But here's the deal. In terms of just the tariff talk and all the uncertainty that's going on, White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett just said on CNBC, trade policy uncertainty will be resolved in early April. I want you to think about that just for a moment. As we are coming to maybe the potential end of quantitative tightening, nobody knows exactly when, but it's coming soon. And the fall of the US dollar is kind of just starting. Interest rates getting ready to come down. If these things come into effect and April, we get clarity about, all of this tariff stuff that's freaking everybody out, this move right here will be short-lived. And there is no telling how low we go, right? There's no telling what this does in the coming days or weeks. And we'll continue to track that from a technical analysis standpoint. But if you're just living in the move and you're not focusing on all the things that are coming together right now, not even mentioning all of the just positive news coming out of the White House from this pro-crypto administration, pay attention to these things. Q2 will take off after tax cuts. Do you realize that? We're getting ready to enter Q2, everybody. Maybe March will be brutal. Maybe not. We'll track it. But I think it's so important before we even look at the charts to just dissect some of these things. And I'm not going too deep or into detail. And another thing to note is it's not just crypto. Tesla now at the same share price it was in 2020. Oftentimes we'll see charts of like ADA or something, Cardano, and it's like at the same price it was previously over many years. And people look at that as like, you know what? It's game over. It's game over for Tesla. Game over for Cardano. That's not the case if you start studying the charts and looking at the charts from kind of a macro long-term value investor. So let's pivot to the charts, and I really want to start with Anthony Pompliano, what he said. I think this was yesterday. The Fear and Greed Index. This is such key data. The Fear and Greed Index for crypto 1 year ago was at extreme greed of 92. So March 2024, extreme greed of 92. Today we're extreme fear of 17. Bitcoin is 20% higher over the same time frame. Don't get tricked by online sentiment. It's all noise. Now, I don't know. This was yesterday. Bitcoin might not be 20% higher. Maybe it's a little closer to where it was a year ago. But can we just talk about that for a moment? Now is not the time to start being all bearish, right? Maybe right here, March 2024, a year ago, when it was high greed, after crazy gains, was the time to be all bearish. And not only that, we were overbought, as you can see on the oscillator here on Bitcoin. Now we are absolutely consolidated on this momentum oscillator, the RSI. So that is huge. But that's Bitcoin. What I really want to talk about in this video are altcoins. And namely in this video, I'm going to talk about ADA as well as Ethereum. So ADA, if you just look at the ADA charts, I made a note on the weekly. I just wanted to throw this out there if you're an ADA person. So, I've been talking about M2 money supply, right, is increasing. This is very good for small caps, lower caps, even in stocks. And that's why altcoin bull market has not started yet, right? This is something we're waiting for. And the other thing is the dollar. We've been tracking the dollar falling. Interest rates starting to fall as well. These three things. But what I realized, and I just started thinking about this, I don't know when the actual pivot will be. I don't know when you'll see all the headlines, quantitative tightening comes to an end. Not even the beginning of quantitative easing, but just quantitative tightening comes to an end. I don't know when that will be, but likely soon. That is one major reason I don't think we're entering a bear market. But that is all happening, right? Right at the confluence of the ETF catalyst for ADA. So we might go lower, everybody. We've been talking much about that lately on all of these charts. But if we get this pivot, and if all of a sudden the clouds clear, and how often do we see this in crypto? It's game over, bear market, recession, no. And then all of a sudden 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% bounce, everybody's bullish again. What happens? We get that pivot out of this move, and then all of a sudden we are seeing a Cardano ETF in play. If you go to the Bitcoin chart, when we're talking about the Cardano ETF, we can go to, I guess, the weekly chart here that I have. The ETF approval was right here in January 2024 for Bitcoin. And that was when Bitcoin was still below its previous cycle all-time highs. I want to make a note of that. Because if Cardano gets an ETF approval, let's make a note, it is below its all-time highs. The altcoin bull market has not started yet. We've been tracking from a simply technical analysis standpoint when that would start for ADA, just breaking above this channel, the bull market doors. We got rejected. It looks like pretty much multiple times around $1.20, $1.25. It hasn't happened yet. It is what it is. But this is why we watch these charts. It's why we focus on these things. I do want to mention, as far as price goes with ADA, and this could fail. I mean, we could wake up tomorrow and this, what I'm about to say, could be over with. But right now, when we're zoomed out on this chart, right, we see such the similarities in structure in terms of like the setups, right? Time frame is a little different. We're a little further into this cycle. It's frustrating people. We're waiting for that quantitative tightening coming to an end, the M2 money supply to really continue ticking upwards. But if we're kind of in this similar move even right now, and this could fail, just look at where ADA consolidated before just making that move to the upside. Below the 20, above the 50. Where are we right now? We're below the 20. We're seeing support so far multiple times at the 50. I'm not so confident that it will hold, right? It wicked down to that area right around 58 cents a couple times and below it once, but the weekly candles have closed above the 50-week moving average. 58 cents is a move away for this crypto. So if altcoins and crypto is about to capitulate, then we might see that support destroyed. But I just think it's an interesting area at the very least to just track on the short term. And that's all we can do right now, everybody, is just continue just tracking these altcoin markets and just kind of living through this high fear time, because that's where we are. This is really unprecedented. I mean, we're starting to hit levels of fear that we see in bear market lows. And I think because it's my opinion that we're not entering a bear market, I think now is such an important time. This is for me. You all can do whatever you feel you should do. But for me, it's just a very important time to hunker down and prepare and continue to plan, right? I want the parabolic move. I want a bull market, but I will be here long-term as a value investor. So if that means is to continue trying to test higher low areas, then that's what we're doing. That's what ADA is doing right now in this chart. Maybe it goes lower. We have to start talking about a Fibonacci, right? What do these Fibonaccis look like? Even the bear market low to like the swing high, what does that look like? We can start talking about all those things. But right now we even have a little bit of a range down to 58 cents at the 50-week moving average, 58, 59 cents, I should say. So that's ADA on the weekly. If you go down to the daily, it's kind of just like, it's crazy, the volatility. Just think about what just happened. We went from 30 cents to like $1.30, down to around 50, back to like $1.20. Now, right now, we're sitting at like 66 cents. The volatility here is absolutely incredible. This is not an area I don't ever recommend using leverage, but when we have volatility like this and we actually have manipulation happening in these markets, this is not a time to use leverage, everybody. This is a time to zoom out. And if you want to be here in crypto for years, make your decisions, plan accordingly, and embrace downside, because this is crypto and this is what happens. When you start zooming out, you're like, man, it is messy in there, but like we've seen this so many times before. Even in previous cycles. This is literally just crypto. It is what it is. Ethereum. I want to look at Ethereum because I talked about Ethereum on the weekly yesterday. I wanted to show you the monthly charts. It's next level. What we talked about yesterday in the video was Ethereum being like really around a month away from, if it's going to keep falling, from hitting oversold levels that we saw in the previous two bear markets. That's where Ethereum is. And there's no way to spot when it will turn around. We could go lower, obviously, especially in the short term. People are freaking out right now. This is crazy. But I went to the monthly chart right before I kind of started doing the video, and the monthly chart is there. We are lower. The Ethereum monthly chart is lower than the bear market low of 2018. Do you see that? And it is about to be lower than the last bear market low. All the while, we are higher in price, and we are, I would say, at like this similar fear factor area of these markets, because that's really where we are. No matter what chart you're looking at, we are in this zone, everybody. And I believe the FTX liquidations are in here, right? That was the move. That was that monthly candle. And we're in that type of move right now. So with the coming collision of quantitative tightening coming to an end, interest rates getting ready to come down whenever they do, I don't know when, but soon, likely, the dollar falling, at the collision of those things happening, and something like Ethereum being oversold in a way in which it was only oversold this much in bear market lows, or even really the COVID swing low, now is not the time to start trying to say the bear market is starting. It's not the time, in my opinion. It's not the time to start talking about a recession when all of the data, even recession data, completely, it just goes against that concept. Maybe the next month will be very difficult. Maybe the next couple of months will be very difficult and painful. But now is the time to focus. Now is the time, in my opinion, to lock in. At the end of the day, I've been covering these markets, right, through all of these moves. I've been covering these markets through all of these moves. Even this previous bear market, we're covering it. And look where we are right now. We've seen nice swing high, and we're in the middle of a swing low. If you go to an ADA chart, it's the same story. We covered this entire bear market. So if you're out there and you were watching all those videos, maybe you were accumulating in the 30s, maybe you got some in the 20s. We're at 67 cents. We went to $1, around $1.30. Even with all of the brutal charts in front of our face right now, it's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. And that's me saying that. And I'm sitting here, I'm frustrated too, everybody. I don't sit here and just enjoy ADA being stuck below $1 or enjoy watching Ethereum just completely fail in this bull market so far. I don't enjoy it, but I'm trying to focus on the data right now, because when I look at the data, it's becoming increasingly, I don't want to use the word obvious, but it's just one of the best words. It's becoming very clear what is happening right now. And while this is happening and retail is absolutely going crazy, I'm seeing OGs. I'm seeing people that have been in this market for a very long time and understand the macroeconomic factors. I'm seeing them very bullish. And that is something to pay attention to, especially the people that have lived through the Bitcoin volatility and through all of these cycles over the years. It is something to pay attention to. And so I'm paying attention to that. And so those are my thoughts tonight. Continue tracking it. We might wake up tomorrow and we're just capitulating, everybody. We are there. I mean, it's been falling. It was not long ago, before we had this really nice pump from Trump's post, we were just in the 60s, right? A week or so ago. And before that, we were in the 60s. and on our way up into the 60s. But I will say this. Focus on the fear and greed index, focus on the oscillators, focus on how oversold we are, and focus on the macroeconomic factors in play. Maybe some short-term pain, but what is going on in the long term? Why are whales and institutions buying? Why is retail selling? Think about that. That's what I'm doing. And that's all this is. This is just my thoughts, my approach to these crypto markets. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you cruising through. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, turn notifications on. I say it a lot. We're just getting started, and I'm feeling very, very good and bullish about these markets. I really am. So let's see what happens. I hope you have a good night. Hang in there. It's very good to stay distracted. That's what I've been doing. Go do something else. Do something that is, benefiting you other than just watching your portfolio fall. So I'll see you in the next video. God bless.